When the low winter temperatures in the northern hemisphere begin to give way to spring, the eyes and the ears of hundreds of host volunteers search the horizon in anticipation of the arrival of the first scouts. A new breeding season is about to begin. A mix of excitement, hope, and take-care preparations start to take place. Lovely, sweet, charismatic, graceful flying acrobats. These are just a few of usual adjectives associated to Purpel Martins, one of the most desired natural birds species in North America. Thanks to the dedication and care of hundreds of volunteers throughout the country, in few weeks, the colonies will be formed, housing a new generation of martins. Volunteers like Bill Cornwolf from Meadowbrook Farm in Naples, Florida, one of the first continental landlords, as the hosts are called.
As a child, I grew up in Racine, Wisconsin, and my father had a martin house in our backyard, and that's how I became acquainted with Purpel Martins. We also had a summer home on Lake Como in Wisconsin, and we had a Purpel Martin house there also. So I remember waking up as a child to the sound of the Purpel Martins. When I moved to Florida, I brought one of my martin houses with me and installed it here, and the first year I got Purpel Martins. Every year the Purpel Martins return here to Naples, Florida around the second or third week of January, and they begin nesting in April. The biggest threat to the martins is having adequate housing for them to nest in, and also the competition from the European starlings, which destroy the martin nests and the eggs. I have been trapping the European starlings, and now my colony is free of the starlings. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm opening up the house to do a nest check, and also to check a trap that I put in for the European starlings. In 1890, someone released 60 non-native European starlings into New York City Central Park, and those original 60 European starlings have increased to over 150 million birds in the United States. These are non-native birds. They destroy the martin nests, they destroy the eggs, and they fill up entire compartments and then nest in only one. This is a special trap to capture these birds, and then they're euthanized because they're non-native. They compete with the tree swallows, woodpeckers, Purpel Martins, any cavity nesting birds. They are one of the worst pests here in the United States. I refer to them as rats with wings.
Although the first records of man relationship with Purpel Martins remote to Native Americans, today, more than ever, the species is mankind dependent upon housing and nesting. Usually each couple will be back to last year's location for nesting and breeding. West Florida is just the first continental U.S. stop for couples arriving from the south to procreation. Colonies arrive in waves and have been monitored in different states of the Federation. Despite the care devoted to the nesting period, PMSs are very sensitive to weather conditions as well. Large droughts, long periods of low temperatures, rain or wind can interfere on feeding process and make large damage to the colony. Summer is ending. After nestling newborns, it's time to get ready. A new challenge is just a few weeks away. Prior to migration towards south to better weather conditions, Purpel Martins gather in great flocks. They spend most of the day feeding on flying insects to build up their energy for the long flight to South America in late summer. We are talking about 5,000 miles journey, 2 or 3 months of flight in high altitudes to reach wintering roosts in Brazil. Somehow, martins have been covering 1,500 miles, including a 500 miles flight over water in less than 1 week. Tracked by geolocator devices, martins have been monitored throughout the entire migrating routes. Group of trees, water bridges, telephone towers, and even oil refineries pipes host enormous avian mass revolving colonies in communal roosts. Migratory and wintering roosts are critically important to annual life cycle of purple martins. The biggest challenge to birds conservation in Brazil, as anywhere else, is the universal balancing environment, protection, and economic development. We are glad to share that Brazil is a major player of several international convention and conservancy agreements. Significant portions of the Brazilian Atlantic forest and Amazon forest itself are protected areas, safe from unbalanced exploration.
It's in the month of January, usually the third week of January, that the purple martins migrate back to the United States for their yearly nesting. The first place they touch land is Collier County, which is here in Naples, Florida, and they arrive, as I said, around the third week of January. They begin actively nesting in the month of April, and from the time they start incubating the eggs after they hatch, it's 28 days from the hatch date to the time they fledge. The young stay with the parents in this general area until around the 1st of August, and then the purple martins congregate in large migratory groups. In the end of August, they return to Brazil, where they winter until the next breeding season, which is in January.
When March closes the summer in Brazil, it's time to come back home. Once again, gigantic colonies starts demissing and martins begin their long way up to North America. Why do they migrate? Perhaps for food or warm weather? Instincts? Actually, we don't know for sure. Part of the fascination about these beautiful and graceful creatures is stemmed from so many different details that technology and devoted volunteers are just starting to understand. Have a safe trip, little fellows. We will be waiting for you next summer.